It's time for Where You Live with Gene and Tony, the show that's all about owning, buying, selling, renting, and association management. If it involves a home, we'll talk about it. Here's your chance to get your homeowner questions answered. From the Concierge Landscape Studios, here's Gene and Tony.
Needed the shelter of someone's arms, and there you were. Needed someone to understand my ups and downs.
Good morning and welcome to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. I'm Gene Sullivan.
And I'm Tony Crockett. How are you today, Gene?
I'm great.
That's good.
Yes. And we've got, folks, a fantastic show today. We've got some stories unbelievable and some just plain interesting.
Some all too believable.
All too believable in the world of homeowner associations. The first one that we're going to be dealing with, perhaps, folks, you saw this last week. There was a very indicting headlines that began by saying that there was a condominium board member who's refusing to accept their responsibility for an actor killing himself after he betrayed his dog.
Mm-hmm. That's some fighting words, isn't it? Some inflammatory words.
Unbelievable. We're going to be looking at that. We're going to be asking a question today, too. Folks, what do you think of this? Do you think mortgage companies are getting off too easy with their responsibility under this current foreclosure mess? Mm-hmm. There's some folks in Florida who think so, and we're going to take a look at what they think. And we're also going to be taking a look out of the state of Georgia, a very interesting bill that has been ratified past the Senate, looking to pass with the House as well. Let's say you're in a homeowners association and you don't like the people that are in control of the association. Should you and could you have the right to be able to just go to Superior Court and gain oversight and control of your homeowner association? Don't even go through the idea of petitioning and trying to work through the governance of your association, but go strictly to court and get that kind of control. Do you think that's good? Well, some folks in Georgia think so. We're going to take a look at that as well. That and so much more. But right now, it is time for Property Management in the News. Property Management in the News is brought to you by Pest Control Services. When you need to get rid of unwanted pests in your home or rental property, call someone who's responsive, professional, and a proud member of Angie's List. Give owner Greg Keener a call at 952-894-9748, Pest Control Services. Well, our first story was out of the New York Post saying condo board member refusing to accept responsibility for an actor killing himself after he betrayed his dog. This was from the New York Post, dated January 29th. And folks, it begins like this. A member of the Condo Board Association that soap actor Nick Santino has been a member of said pressured him to euthanize his pit bull, a betrayal that drove him to suicide, and refused to accept any responsibility for the double tragedy that just took place. I am just dumbfounded. Those are very damning comments.
Well, they really are. They really are. Nick Santino is saying that his condo board pressured him to euthanize his pit bull, and apparently his friends are saying that led to his own suicide.
That's right. And as you read the article further here, people said, of course, Nick Santino, who I guess is an actor on All My Children, Guiding Light, and other soap operas like that, had a pet pit bull named Rocco, and the dog was 5 years old. And he ended up putting the dog to sleep about a week ago, or just recently here, on Santino's 47th birthday. A few hours later, Santino killed himself with an apparent overdose from pills. People are saying, oh, I know this dog was important to him. The dog was an abused dog, and he saved him. People said that these two people could be seen going everywhere together.
The person and the dog.
Yeah, Rocco and Mr. Santino. And people are saying that all of this took place because of pressure that the Homeowner Association had, because others said they waged a campaign of harassment against Mr. Santino.
Actually, it says it waged a campaign against dogs.
Yeah, well, it says it says against him and dog owners in the building.
In the building,
That's
okay.
Right. And of course, you want to ask yourself the first question: how? What happened? What was it that the association did here that would constitute continual harassment, waging a campaign? It almost seems like he was. You get the idea that he was single-handedly being picked on, but as the sentence goes on, it continues to talk about rules against all owners of dogs in the building.
There's some really inflammatory statements being made with no supporting facts. The only facts in the story state that the co-op association board was enacting new rules against dogs and dog owners. It doesn't say that they were there's no proof that they were harassing this particular dog owner.
Yeah.
Knowing that this dog owner was singled out for any reason.
Just because you're enacting rules, that would not necessarily constitute harassment.
No.
Let's take a look at what some of those rules are. There were two specific that were
mentioned in the story.
In the article.
We don't know if there were more, but there were two mentioned.
In one, and tell me what you think of these. Number one, the idea that animals would have to use a freight elevator or the stairs instead of the main elevator when going up, when transporting the dog through the building and out.
That's a common rule in condo associations because you live with people who maybe are not comfortable with dogs or don't like dogs, and they're going to be very uncomfortable if a person and a dog climbs in the elevator with them. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, sure.
So I don't think that's an unreasonable
How
rule.
How about the person who's hyper allergenic and would have allergies because of pets? Isn't that kind of a nice way of trying to accommodate them as well?
Yes.
How about the second idea? Is it oppressive to say that dogs shouldn't be left alone in a unit for more than 9 hours at a time?
That sounds reasonable, but
I mean, I don't
know if it's a necessary rule, but it's. I'm guessing the condo board came up with these rules because there were problems, because there were issues, because a dog left longer than 9 hours was freaking out and barking disturbing
all the
neighbors,
time,
or had done damage to the unit. You know, they don't usually pull these things out of thin air for no reason.
So is that an unreasonable request that a dog should not be left alone for more than 9 hours? No, the request is not unreasonable. I mean,
I don't think so.
You can't expect a dog to hold it that length of time.
That's right.
And not be able to go in the home.
Well, let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. Let's say these rules are completely unreasonable. Is that proof enough that they harassed Mr. Santino to the point that he had to euthanize his dog and commit suicide? This is a tragic story. It's a horrible story.
It is.
But it just floors me that it all comes back on the homeowners association or the co-op association, and this story is asserting that it's their fault.
And more specifically, there seems to be one condo board member, that's the beginning of the story here, saying that they're refusing to accept their responsibility. I mean, it's as if, sorry, you've already been tried.
Well, right.
Right.
Well, and the story indicates they only spoke to one board member, so that must be why they put that in the title.
Yeah.
But here, later in the story, there's quotes from his friends. And one friend wrote on her Facebook page, "Nick, you were so dear and special to me. And when you called me on Tuesday and cried and told me you didn't want to live anymore, I should have called 911. Perhaps it's her fault that Nick committed suicide." Is that too harsh a thing to say?
Well, and
then she goes on to say, why didn't I just take Rocco when you called me back in November? I'm starting to think it is her fault that he euthanized his dog and committed suicide.
I know you mean that
tongue in cheek.
Tongue in cheek,
but
yes.
still, why does she have any less or more responsibility than the homeowners association? I don't think it's anyone's fault but Mr. Santino's. He made these choices.
Yeah.
He made some bad decisions.
Yeah, and it really is unfortunate that you have a situation that is really, I think, being blown out of proportion in terms of the blame that they want to throw stones at here.
I'm sorry that this kind of thing gets press.
I do too. I want to talk about it, this article a little bit more, but we need to take a break right now. So let's do that. And when we come back, we're going to continue talking about this board member who's accused of accepting responsibility for a homeowner who killed themselves after getting rid of their dog. Back after these messages.